Hey everybody, welcome to Bright Earth Yoga. My name is Hannah, and today we have a bump-friendly yoga class for beginners. So if you're looking for a good place to start, this is a video that I made for you. We are using a few props today, so you can pause the video after this while you collect some things. I have a blanket and a bolster, but if you don't have a bolster, feel free to grab a few pillows, a couple extra blankets, have lots of things ready by your mat just in case you decide later on you might want to use them. Wear something comfy and let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start today's class. Got my props ready, I have my comfy clothes on, I have my yoga mat, and this class today is a special bump-friendly class. I'm not a prenatal yoga instructor, but as you can see, I am pregnant and I do practice yoga. So I am going to be taking you through some poses today at a beginner's level that you can use in your home practice, or if you're already taking prenatal yoga classes, maybe you can use it to kind of complement those on days when you can't make it to class. So first off, I'm gonna move my props out of the way because I don't quite need this bolster. Toss it over there and grab a blanket or a pillow. I'm gonna use a blanket and I'm gonna fold it up nice and thick, and we're gonna start in a seat. Just a nice, comfortable Sukhasana, easy seat, which is not always easy. And if you've been taking prenatal yoga classes, or if you've done any research, maybe you've looked on spinning babies or something else like that, you probably have heard a little bit about how you need to sit up straight when you are expecting a baby. And one way we do that is by propping the sits bones. So I'm wiggling around, trying to get comfortable, doing this little prenatal dance that we do. And I've got this blanket kind of wedged underneath me like that. And it's helping my pelvis tip forward so that I can't even feel my hip bones anymore. There's too much bump in the way, but my hip bones are coming forward instead of rolling back onto the tailbone. We don't want to do that slump because we don't want a posterior baby. We want to be sitting nice and forward, sitting up straight. You don't need to lean the whole upper body forward, so the upper body is nice and erect. Nice tall spine reaching upward for the sky, and the head resting easily at the top of the spine. All right, so take your time getting set up in your seat. And then once you're ready, just kind of let your hands fall wherever feels comfortable. Maybe fingers interlaced underneath your belly, or hands can rest gently on the thighs. Palms can rest face down or face up. I like to rest mine face down. It's a little more grounding. And relax the tops of the shoulders. You can roll the shoulders around a couple of times one way and then the other. Just getting a little loosey-goosey here as we relax and prepare to take this time out for you. So a lot of prenatal yoga is about, connecting with your baby and, really tuning in to your pregnancy and that sort of thing. And if that's what you want to spend this time doing, that's perfectly okay. It's a really wonderful way to spend your time on your mat. But also, if you just need to kind of think about yourself and your own emotions and your feelings and what you're going through, and not necessarily connecting with your baby, but just taking this time out to stop thinking so much about the baby or being pregnant, that's okay too. So gently close the eyes if you haven't already, and if that's challenging for you, maybe just soften the gaze and not really focusing on anything in particular. Soften those muscles around the eyes, between the eyebrows, and the space of the forehead. And pay special attention today to the jaw. So we don't want to be clenching the jaw or squeezing the teeth shut, but just let it go slack. Nobody's looking. I can't see you. It's a nice slack jaw. Muscles of the mouth are soft and loose. Relax the tongue. And then we'll bring hands to touch at heart center. And then we'll slightly bow the head down and stretching gently through the back of the neck. All right. Softly flutter the eyes open. And we will move through a little bit of a seated warm-up, just stretching through the sides of the body today. So go ahead and plant your right hand down onto the mat and reach the left hand up and over. Good. So move to the other side. And as you move, focus on your breath. And we're not going to breathe through the mouth today. Keep going from side to side. We're not going to move through breathe through the mouth today. We're going to breathe just through the nose. Nice deep breaths in and out the nose. Easeful. So don't force the breath. We don't want to fight with the breath. We just want to kind of let it flow gently in and out the nose. And as you're flowing from side to side, try to stay grounded in this opposite hip here. When it's opposite from the direction in which you're stretching, because that hip wants to fly up off the mat. We're trying to lengthen. It doesn't matter how far over you lean. We're just trying to lengthen through the sides of the body. It's going to be really nice for the lower back. So maybe explore a little bit, leaning a little forward. Maybe you can find some more space in the lower back, which is, as we know, a wonderful place to stretch. All right, once more on each side. Good. So come back to center, and we're going to move on to all fours. So I'm going to take my blanket, and I'm going to unfold it a little bit, and just make a little cushion for my knees. We're going to come to tabletop position. So this blanket is just a cushion. You don't have to do this, but some people like it. Just to cushion the knees and the ankles, tops of the feet there, just in case you want that. There we go. So tabletop position, I've got my shoulders stacked over my wrists, and I've got my hips stacked over my knees here. If this is really hard on your wrists, you can grab a chair and you can bring your forearms to the top of the chair right there. Some people also find it helps to come onto fists instead. Some people don't like that. It's just your personal preference. Everybody is different. Another thing you can do for wrist issues is just walk the hands forward a little bit. It'll be all right if you need to do that, because sometimes this sort of flexion is really challenging just because of your anatomy. All right, so here I am in a tabletop position, and I'm not dropping down on the belly yet, but I'm just kind of straight here, like imagine you're at a coffee table, a nice four-legged coffee table. So this is tabletop position. Reconnect with your breath. So if you're not paying attention to your breath anymore, go ahead and tune back into the breath, coming slowly in and out the nose. Nice full breaths. And then once you've reconnected with your breath, on your inhale, go ahead and drop the belly and lift through the heart space. Shoulders melting down away from the ears. And on your exhale, round the spine, let the tailbone tuck and the head drop down. So we're moving one breath per movement. On your inhale, this is cow pose. And on your exhale, this is cat pose. Picture a cat with his back arched here. Good. Inhale, move with the pace of your own breath, even if it's different from mine. And exhale back to cat pose, where you really stretch through the back. So really press up between the shoulder blades, around the spine. Good. And keep going, moving with your breath. All right, just a few more rounds here. Then we're going to get off the wrists for just a moment. So walk the hands back and we'll sit on the heels. If it's tough to sit on your heels, you can tuck a pillow or a blanket back here and sit back. That'll just create a little more space there behind the knees. And keep breathing. You can circle out the wrists. Stretch the fingers. Listen to those little pops. Some people are just poppy people. There's nothing wrong with it. We're just that way. Accept it. Okay, and then we're going to move back into tabletop position. We're going to work with one central yoga pose today, which is a low lunge. So you may have already heard the importance of lunges in pregnancy. I'm gonna start on my right side here. So I'm gonna bring this right foot up towards my hands. And if the foot doesn't make it all the way, give your ankle a grab and pop it up there. Here we go. Low lunge. So you can stay here grounded if you don't feel stable, but if you're ready, you can go ahead and lift up into a low lunge. So here, I'm going to try to make sure that my knee is not going too far forward of my ankle. Don't do this. Just look. Should have said that first. So draw that knee back a little bit and try to square the hips. So we're not on one single line. We're not walking a tightrope here. We're on railroad tracks. So this nice space for the hips here in between the railroad tracks where the joints are lining up, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So this is your low lunge. You can keep your hands on your hips or resting on your leg, or you could reach arms up with the shoulders melting down away from the ears. And if you are feeling something like what I'm feeling, there's a little bit of opening in this left front hip right here. That's what we want. That's nice. Good. Now I'm going to move into a twist, but not a closed twist. So I'm not going to twist towards my front leg. I'm going to twist away from my front leg just a little bit here. And I've got my hands here to stabilize myself. Make sure your front knee isn't caving in over towards your left side, but draw it back. So you're keeping nice and strong in the legs here. Good. If you're really stable here, you can lift your arms out to the side. And now don't forget your breath. Come back to your breath, breathing deep breaths in and out the nose, and untwist. All right, I'm going to bring my hands back down to the mat. And one last version of this low lunge here. I'm just going to open through the hip. So we'll bring my right hand to the inside of my right thigh, or right thigh right here above the knee, and just press it open a little bit, rolling open through the hip, coming onto the outer blade of the right foot. Just a little stretch for the hip. Good. And then come back out of that. Hands are planted down on the mat and step that foot back. Good. We'll repeat that on the other side. So this time I'm going to bring my left foot up, giving it an assist, and come into my low lunge. So lifting, good. So check your alignment, making sure that knee is over your ankle, not coming forward of it. And then make sure your knee isn't caving in towards your right, but draw it back out in line over the ankle. Good. Low lunge, really opening through the front right hip. You can reach your arms up if you're stable. And then we're going to twist. This is an open twist. So again, I'm twisting away from my front leg. And if you're stable, lift the arms. You're doing great. Lunges are not easy. Whew, they're important. All right, now we're going to come back down for that hip opener. So untwist, plant the hands, and then gently press into the thigh, rolling onto the outer blade of your left foot. And untwist. So I'm going to step that foot back. And let's move through some more cats and cows here. Coming back to the breath if you've left it. Inhale, drop the belly, cow pose. And exhale, round the spine. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Stretching, stretching, cat pose. Move with your own breath as you inhale and exhale. And you can start to add in some extra movements this time, maybe swinging the hips from side to side, slowly, slowly doing so as you stretch and listen to your body's needs. But as you move, stay connected to your breath. I'm going to flip my fingers around here so I can stretch through the wrists. And then we'll move into a child's pose. So I want to move into a supported child's pose. You can move into one without support if you don't have the props or aren't interested in using them. But I've got this big fat bolster to show you how it's done. And in a child's pose, we can either have knees together, feet apart, or knees together or knees apart. You're going to want to have knees apart for this to create space for your belly. And I have this big bolster. You can use a stack of pillows or blankets or nothing at all if you feel comfortable. But for some of us, it's nice to have something to support us as we lean forward. And you can have your head turned to the side or straight down, whichever is more comfortable. So this is child's pose. Use this to come back to your breath and come back to this present moment. You can start to tune in to what's happening emotionally for you or physically. If you're stressed or your mind is wandering, that's perfectly normal. We put so much pressure on ourselves to do it right. But you know what? Just having made it to your mat today, that's the hardest part. That's the biggest step you can take towards, quote unquote, doing it right. Just being here is what you needed. So extend a little bit of gratitude to yourself for having made it to your mat and taking this time out. So let's gently come up out of child's pose. I'm going to set my bolster aside for now. And I am going to come to a seat for Baddha Konasana, which is simpler than it sounds. So for this pose, you can use a blanket to prop your sit bones like we did before, so that your pelvis rocks a little forward. And we will bring feet together, knees apart, a little diamond shape here. And you can scoot your feet further away from the hips, or you can bring them closer in, whichever feels more comfortable. Maybe rock a little side to side. Some people call this cobbler's pose or butterfly pose. Baddha Konasana is just the Sanskrit. All it means is bound angle pose. And while you're here, you can use your thumbs to massage the arches of the feet. We all need that, don't we? And try to soften the gaze or close the eyes and just kind of relax into this moment. Gently flutter the eyes open. And before our final resting posture, we're going to have one more pose. Janu. I call it Janu because it's difficult to say Janu Sirshasana. I'm getting a little too relaxed here. So for this pose, you can either take one leg long. I'm going to have my left leg long and bend the right knee, bring the heel in towards the groin, or you can have both legs long. And this is just personal preference, but it's also, a consideration for anyone who has knee issues. I actually do have knee issues, especially in this knee right here. So sometimes, depending on what day it is or what the weather's like, bending my knee in the compression can be a bit much. So that's just up to you. Today it feels okay for me, so I'm going to go ahead and bend my knee. And then we're going to stretch through the side of the body again and the lower back. So first, reach the left arm down towards the foot. It doesn't have to reach all the way. And the right arm reaches up and over. So our goal is to lengthen through the side of the body all the way from the hip up to the fingertips. So there's your side body stretch. And from there, you can start to play with it and maybe turn it down a little bit into more of a forward fold type thing. So your body is turning down towards your leg, and that can help you get a little more into lower back, which we all definitely want to get into. This is a great way to stretch the lower back. If you don't have the space in your body for a super deep forward fold, which if you have a big bump, you probably don't. Keep breathing and imagine your breath going to that space in your lower back or in the side of your body. Good. Now walk your hands back up and we're going to switch sides. First, stretching through the side of the body, so reach up and over with the left hand. And then as you're ready, you can slowly start to turn the body down towards your leg. Just finding a different aspect of this stretch of this pose. And then coming back up out of it. We are ready for our final resting posture, Shavasana. This pose is traditionally done on the back, and you could do it on your back if that feels comfortable for you, but typically from mid-pregnancy on, we don't lay on our backs because it's very uncomfortable for most of us and cuts off the circulation in one of the major veins. So one way you could manage to lie on your back is by using a bunch of props so that I would put something else. If I had something else, I would prop it under here so that I'm reclining at an angle. Another option is to lie on your side. And you can do that. I'm going to lie this way. Either side is fine. They recommend you lie on your left side for the best optimal circulation. I'm going to lie on my right side so that my face is not in the sun. And you can either put a pillow, you probably can't see this, in between your legs, all the way from your knee to your ankles through your foot, so that the legs are evenly stacked and there's space for the hips to relax there. Or you can have, like I'm going to do, your bolster or pillow or stack of blankets, whatever, out to the side. That's too tall. Out to the side, and just kind of rest your knee all the way from your knee to your foot on top of the bolster. And I'm going to use a little pillow here with my blanket. Ooh, sorry, bumped the microphone. The key is here to just make yourself comfortable, to learn what your body needs. So this is our Shavasana today. Make sure that you have plenty of time carved out to spend in this pose. Let the breath flow easily in and out the nose. So nothing forceful here, just gentle, deep breathing in and out the nose. Muscles around the eyes are soft, and pay attention again to the jaw. So let the mouth go slack and the tongue is limp. Create a little space between the teeth. The whole face is growing soft. And we'll end here with a cleansing breath. So take a deep breath in through the nose, filling up your lungs. Open the mouth and exhale it all out. You can do that again. So we'll breathe in through the nose, filling up the lungs. Open the mouth and exhale. Let it all go. It's been an honor to guide you in this practice today, and I hope you found something on your mat you can take with you as you go. Namaste.